Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com, here to do your monthly angel card reading for April 2017. So for this monthly reading, we're going to be using the Sirian Starseed Tarot, which is by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha. And the book looks like this. And your special message card, depending on your stone of choice, is going to be coming from the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck, which is by Doreen Virtue. So let's start out, and I'll show you what your stones of choice are before we get into the astrological energies of the month. So your first stone of choice is Celestite. Now, I chose all three of these stones because of the high vibrational nature of the stones, because we're going into a month of a lot of change and some transitioning energies. The Celestite, as you can see, is a beautiful pale blue color. It's almost like a slate blue. It's going to relate to the throat chakra. This is a stone that helps to get in touch with higher realms, get in touch with your angels and guides, and receive those messages. And of course, because it's throat chakra energy, it's also going to help you with clear, open, honest communication, and as well as clear, open thoughts and ideas. Your second stone of choice is a clear quartz crystal. This is a clear quartz crystal point. You can see it's pretty large, it's pretty heavy, and it's got some clarity to it. As I turn it around, you can almost see through it. This angle is very nice. But the clear quartz crystal, of course, is going to be another high vibrational stone. It relates to the crown chakra. It's going to open you up to higher knowing, higher understanding. The clear quartz crystal really amplifies the energy of intention. So whatever intention you have to put out to the universe, anything that you want to create or manifest, it's always wonderful to work with a clear quartz crystal, especially if it's a point, because the point directs the energy. The clear quartz crystal, again, is also good for clear cognizance because it deals with that crown chakra, which is clear knowing. It's the psychic ability where we just know things to be. Your last stone of choice is going to be ametrine. Now this looks like amethyst, and I don't know if you can see, probably not in this light, but this is actually a combination of amethyst and citrine, excuse me. Citrine is that golden yellow stone that deals with our solar plexus chakra, our center of willpower. And of course the amethyst is that purple stone that deals with crown chakra energies and helps you with your dreams, nighttime dreams as well as daytime dreams. It helps you, again, to connect to those higher sources of energy, as all of these stones do. But the ametrine, of course, being a combination, is going to combine both the crown chakra and the solar plexus chakra. Again, this is confidence and willpower with higher knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to move forward in life. So again, this is ametrine. All right, so again, we have the celestite, the clear quartz crystal, or the ametrine. Now, let's start out by talking a little bit about the numerology vibration for the month of April. So the month of April, numerologically, is a 5 vibration, okay? And how do we get that? We have to figure out what the universal year is, 2017. 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 7 is 10. And then we take that 10 vibration and we add it to the month in question. And April is the 4th month, so 10 plus 4 is 14. And in numerology, we usually reduce things down to a single digit. And so the 1 plus the 4 equals the 5. And we are going to talk about the 14 as well, but let's start by talking about the 5 for a minute. The 5 energy vibration is all about change and freedom, okay? And if we think back to what March was about, of course, March was a 13 vibration, which reduces down to a 4. And the 4 was that kind of slow pace, step by step, paying attention to details, being patient and determined to reach your goals. Now the 5 is a lot different. 5 energy is change and redirection and freedom and adventure and movement and a lot of things happening at once. It's not slow at all, it's very fast. So things start to pick up speed What's going to pick up speed? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But we definitely have a lot of irons in the fire and a lot of things that we're juggling that's happening at once. That's what brings in the change energy. That's what brings in the redirection energy. The 5 energy sometimes can be prone to anxiety and nervous energy, and also prone to escapism or addictive types of tendencies, and that's to cover up this whole anxiety and fear of things moving too fast. So be careful when it comes to overindulgences in different things, and that can even be overindulgence in work or food or even exercise. Now, that 14 vibration, the number 14 is a karmic number in numerology. There's 4 karmic numbers that we look at. The 14 is one of them. And it still exemplifies this idea about freedom. The 14 karmic number is about past life karmic issues with our sense of freedom, that we feel limited or held back, and we want change and we want it now. And again, sometimes we're juggling so many things that we get pulled off in too many different directions, and we don't have enough focus to move forward. That's one of the pitfalls of the 14, is there's so many things that's happening. You're wearing so many hats or juggling so many projects that you kind of lose focus and you can't really get anything done. So pay attention to not allowing that to happen. And how do we do that? By meditation, by getting out in nature, by doing what we can to ground ourselves and center ourselves. Now, I want to also talk about the 14th Major Arcana, because that always plays into the energy vibration as well. So the 14th Major Arcana in the traditional tarot deck is the Temperance card. But since I'm using the Sirian Starseed Tarot for the main message for the month, I wanted to pull the 14th Major Arcana from this deck. And in the Sirian Starseed Tarot, it's actually called Alchemy. Now, the Temperance card and the Alchemy card have the same kind of meaning behind them. But what this Alchemy card speaks of, it's about taking all these different various energies, if you will. In this case, we're talking about fire, water, earth, air, and the spiritual realm as well. We're taking all these different energies from all these different realms, and we're combining them in such a way to create something new. Okay, that's what this is about. Alchemy is about the magic of creating something new with other materials. Okay, so what are those other materials in your life? What are the creative materials in your life? What are the circumstances in your life? What are these changing, flowing energies all about with this 5 vibration? And how can we take all of this and put it together in such a way that, again, it creates something new and different, something magical, something, again, very creative and spiritual in our lives. And that's what the Alchemy card is going to be all about. Now, this also helps to open us up to higher understanding. The Temperance card in the traditional tarot is often about having patience and looking at things from a different perspective, looking at things from a higher perspective, understanding why all of these things that are going on that don't seem to make any sense, what is the higher spiritual meaning behind it? And that's the other piece to this Alchemy card, or the Temperance card, that we're going to have to pay attention to for the month of April. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that aside, and we'll talk about the highlights of the month of April. Now, I'm not going to talk about everything because this video would be way too long, but that's what the weekly angel card readings are for, is to kind of fine-tune. Now, again, I'm going to hit the highlights. On the 2nd of April, Venus, which went retrograde in the sign of Aries not so long ago, if you remember, I can't remember the exact date, but on the 2nd of April, Venus is retrograding back into Pisces. Now, it's going to be in Pisces for most of the month of April. Remember, Venus is about relationships, partnerships. It's about finances and money. That's what Venus rules. While she was in Aries, she was much more confident and self-assured and independent and take charge and being a leader. And now as she retrogrades back into Pisces for most of April, it's kind of like retrograding back into the past. You know, it's almost like going back into the past of this Pisces energy that might be a little confusing, that sometimes doesn't make any sense, that sometimes causes us to feel less than or have some low self-worth or some self-identity issues. So, and even in the money department, you know, Venus and Pisces it's like easy come, easy go, or the water kind, or the the money kind of filters through our fingers like water, because Pisces is a water sign, so it seems to kind of disappear. And on the other side of it, it can magically reappear, like money can magically come in. And so focus on the blessings from the universe just coming to you, and trusting and having faith, which is all Pisces energy, trust and have faith. If you do that, if you just trust and have faith and visualize and know that you're being taken care of, then the money and the finances can kind of flow in the form of blessings. And also within relationships and partnerships, we can see the blessings behind what may be happening around us. Okay. So on the 6th of April, Saturn is now turning retrograde. We have a lot of retrograde planets going on in this month of April. So remember, Jupiter has already been retrograde, and Venus has already been retrograde. It's just retrograding now back into Pisces. Now we have Saturn turning retrograde. Saturn is about, well, Saturn sometimes gets a bad rap. It's the planet of restriction, limitation, karmic challenges. But on the positive end, Saturn is about structure and form and manifestation, and he's the great teacher of lessons. And so he helps to teach us, if you will, what it is that we need to know karmically so that we can move forward. In other words, get the karmic lesson, and so that way we can release it and let it go, so that it doesn't ride with us anymore as we move forward, basically. And, you know, it's about bringing structure into our lives. It's about bringing things into manifestation that we do desire and want. And Saturn right now is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is about our belief systems. It's about higher learning and knowledge again. It's about seeing the glass as half full rather than half empty. And I think that when Saturn goes retrograde in Sagittarius, it's going to kind of internalize that energy so that we're looking within at our own judgments. Are we judging ourselves? Are we judging our lives? Are we judging God in the universe? Are we judging other people or groups or circumstances? You know, it's all about these judgments. And I feel like we're also going to see that coming from other people, again, within groups or organizations and things like that. It's going to kind of root out. Saturn, being the karmic teacher, is going to root out where these judgments are coming from, where these differing belief systems are coming from. And that's something that I didn't write down how long Saturn's going to be retrograde, but it's going to be retrograde for a little while. So we have plenty of time to have an understanding of what that's all about and to release and heal that aspect within ourselves, within our culture, within our world. Okay. Then the next thing of importance here, let me take a look. Just a brief little mention of April 8th. I think around April 8th and maybe the day before, it's going to be an interesting day because Venus retrograde in Pisces is going to be challenging Saturn retrograde, which is newly just gone retrograde. So it makes it more powerful. And then the Sun in Aries is also challenging Pluto on that day. So I feel like that's going to be an interesting day, which, by the way, the next day on the 9th, we have another planet going retrograde. So it's an interesting time that may bring up some power and control issues, that might bring up some old wounds, some self-worth issues. And again, as I said on the 9th, Mercury goes retrograde. Okay, now Mercury is added to all the retrograde planets. And it's going retrograde at 4 degrees of Taurus. And it will retrograde back into Aries on the 20th. Okay, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but just to let you know, Mercury retrogrades in the sign of Taurus, which is about money and finances and our sense of self-worth and things that are, you know, grounded and logical and practical, and it retrogrades back into Aries, which is that sign of new beginnings and fresh ideas and leadership, and so it's going to cover all of the aspects of both of those signs while it's in retrograde motion. Okay, on the 10th, 11th, depending on where you are in the world, we have a full moon at 21 degrees of Libra, which means the Sun is at 21 degrees Aries, the opposite sign. Now, that moon in Libra is going to connect with Jupiter, which is our belief systems, which is already retrograde in Libra. It's going to challenge Pluto, So it's going to bring up some emotional stuff, emotional transformation and change, some understanding of the subconscious and some of the belief systems that we have. And then it's going to oppose both the Sun and Uranus that are in Aries. So this could definitely bring something in the realm of relationships and partnerships, because it is a full moon in Libra, and Libra is the sign of relationships and partnerships. And I feel like there's going to be some sort of maybe sudden and unexpected change and transformation. Also, because Venus is retrograde, and a couple days before, you know, squaring Saturn, it's this buildup of some sort of old, wounded, maybe energy or karmic challenge or karmic belief system that we're carrying. So there's something occurring here with relationships, so definitely pay attention to that. Now, Venus turns direct on the 15th of April at 26 to 27 degrees Pisces. So it you know, retrogrades back into Pisces on the 2nd, but turns direct on the 15th. Now, Venus goes back into Aries not until the 28th of the month, towards the end. That's why it's in Pisces for most of the month. But at least it turns direct on the 15th, mid-month. And so the aftermath of what occurs the first half of the month and with the full moon, we'll start to kind of get some semblance of clarity, I guess, or resolution in some areas, especially by the time we get to the end of the month on the 28th, when Venus goes back into the sign of Aries and she becomes much more stronger and confident again. And of course, on the 19th, the Sun moves into Taurus, which it does around this time every April, which brings things more into a sense of practicality and groundedness, and we're in a more focused state. Now, on the 20th, two interesting things happen. One is that Pluto, the planet of power and control and death and rebirth and transformation and regeneration, is going retrograde. So now we have another planet going retrograde. Pluto is a very slow-moving planet. It's at 19 degrees Capricorn when it goes retrograde. It's only going to retrograde back 3 degrees to 16 degrees, but it's going to take some months before it gets there. So it will be retrograde for a while. But because it's turning retrograde on the 20th of April, a couple days before, maybe a couple days after that date, we're going to see some of that Plutonian energy be highlighted. So again, watch for some power and control issues. Maybe between people that you know, but this is more global too. This is about power and control and things of a transformation level as far as the planet and humanity. And you might see some things that are hidden start to be coming up to the surface to be known to the masses. So things that were maybe secret or hidden, because Pluto rules the underworld and rules that Scorpio energy of things that are hidden or secret, things might come to the surface and we might be made aware of some things. Also on the 20th of April, Mercury, which is retrograde, of course, remember it started in Taurus. That's when it retrogrades back into Aries. And I may have already mentioned that. On the 21st, Mars moves into Gemini. So this is interesting because Mars is our physical energy, our vitality. Mars is forward movement, and it likes to move forward. It's a fiery planet. Mars is a fiery planet. Gemini is an air sign. What happens when you put fire and air together? Ooh, a big inferno, comes about. A big inferno, a big fire, and sometimes unpredictable. And Gemini is unpredictable. Gemini is that air sign. It's the sign of the twins. So we're back and forth, and we're doing lots of different things, and that's where all the juggling comes in, and that's where scattering our energies might come in. So you might feel physically one day like you have a lot of energy and you're getting a lot of things done, and the next day it's like, whoa, you're down for the count, you need some rest. And that's that vacillation, that duality of Gemini. So watch for that as well as Mars moves through the sign of Gemini in the next few weeks. Okay, is there anything else? Oh, we have to talk about the new moon at the end of the month. On the 26th, we have a new moon in Taurus at 6 degrees, and so here's a sign of some new beginnings to come. I also want to make mention on the 23rd, a couple days after Mars moves into Gemini, it actually squares the north and the south node. So from about the 21st through the 24th or so, watch for some sort of a karmic shift or redirection to occur. That's probably what's going to happen when it squares the nodes. The nodes are very fated and karmic, and it deals with past versus future. So there's going to be something there that's occurring. Okay, we have to get to the cards so we can get through the rest of this video in a timely manner. But let's look at the first card for the month of April. I did meditate and I asked Spirit to show what we needed to know for the month. And the first card is actually the Three of Orbs. Now, the Three of Orbs is like the Three of Swords, okay? And the Three of Swords is often one of those cards that shows some sadness. It talks about sadness and healing of old issues, family issues or ancestral issues, old belief systems. The number 3 is about our belief systems in numerology. And again, the Swords is about the mental realm. So here we're dealing again with some things that are maybe being exaggerated beyond where they need to be, because the number 3 is prone to exaggeration. So, you know, with this is telling me that we may be dealing with some things on a mental level, again, with our thoughts and our belief systems. As you can see, there's a big lightning bolt there in the background, bringing in some change. And lightning bolts can also bring in new ideas and inspiration too. But I think because of the context of this card, we're talking about our belief systems are not maybe in the most positive of places, and maybe that lightning bolt is that flash of this is what you need to know, and it may not be all roses and rainbows, okay? Now, I don't want to scare you or anything, because this is about healing. This is about changing our perspective and changing our belief systems, which is part of what that Major Arcana of the Alchemy card for the month is all about. You know, taking the various different elements and combining them in a different way to form something new. So we're going to take our belief systems, we're going to take our thoughts, we're going to take our emotions, we're going to take the circumstances that are happening around us, and we're going to put them together to form a new way to look at things. Let's look at the second card and get more information so we can follow that up. The second card is actually the Adept of Flames. Now, in the traditional tarot, this is the Knight of Wands or the Knight of Fire. And the Knight is one of those court cards that is sometimes an immature energy, okay? And all that means is he's not wise yet. You know, he's in that beginning stages of becoming a knight and being a knight and wanting to be going on an adventure and wanting to move towards change. And of course, being the Knight of Fire or the Adept of Flames, it's one of those knights that moves the fastest. You know, if we put the knight in an earth sign, he's a little bit more slow and he takes his time a little bit more. But the Knight of Flames wants to move fast, fast, fast. He wants to gallop forward and make those changes. And that's exactly, again, that 5 vibration of the month of April. We want to make these changes. Some of the changes are coming, you know, outside of our control. But in other ways, some of the changes are things that we want to redirect in our lives. And we might want to redirect them right now, which is what the Adept of Flames wants to do. He wants to gallop forward and take this golden medallion at his solar plexus and use his confidence, use his courage, use his willpower, and really make things happen. And that's not a negative thing at all. But I feel like we also need to take a little bit more time and care. Usually this card means take a little bit more time and care and think things through a little bit more carefully instead of doing like a knee-jerk reaction and making a change based on the emotional, you know, how our emotional buttons get pushed and it's like boom, you know, we make a change and then we look back and say, oh, maybe I shouldn't have reacted quite so quickly. That's kind of what we have to think about when we think about the Adept of Flames. And then our third card for the month is Major Arcana 13 and Transition. Now, I find this interesting because I think this was in March's reading, or at the very least, this is the card that vibrates to the month of March because, again, it's a 13-month, March was. So this card comes up for this month as well, which I found very interesting, but it makes sense because this is traditionally the Death card, and again, it's not to scare people. The Death card just means that an old way is coming to an end so a new way can come about. So it's about death and rebirth, endings and new beginnings. And again, you know, we see this transition. Our soul on an ego level is transitioning to a higher soul self level. You can see this woman who's sleeping here, and her ego self is leaving her body at night while she dreams and traveling to higher dimensions, traveling to, you know, higher universal dimensions here. And this is exactly what's happening for us in this month, is we're going through a process of internal change and transition that's going to bring outer change and transition eventually. Okay, so this is a positive thing, but sometimes, and this kind of reminds me too, also to bring up the fact that during the whole month of April, Saturn is challenging Chiron, the wounded healer. Remember, Saturn is about our, about karmic things that have happened, karmic patterns, karmic circumstances, and Chiron is about karmic wounds. And since they're squaring each other for most of the month, it's bringing up a lot of things that are going to cause this inner transformation and change within us, okay? So look for that to happen physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually throughout this month. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at your special message card before we run out of time. And for those of you that chose the Celestite, now again, this is the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck, so we're going to give that a little bit of a shuffle and ask the goddesses to show us what the special message card is for the Celestite people. Okay, so looking for the Celestite card, or whoops, this one popped right out on an angle. Divine Passion and Pele. I always love this card. And it says, be honest with yourself. What is your true heart's desire? Or what is your heart's true desire? Okay? So this is asking you to get in touch with your internal truth. Through that process of transformation and change, get in touch with your truth, your internal passion. What are you passionate about? Okay? And move towards that. I feel like you're really needing to get in touch with, balance, and heal the sacral chakra, which is where our passion kind of lies. Do things that are creative to kind of inspire that or get that moving. So draw, dance, sing, paint, you know, whatever's creative to you. It could be cooking. So just start to do things that are creative, and that will help to stir those passion energies within you so that you can move forward in a way that's going to be in your highest and best interest. For those of you that chose the clear quartz crystal point, give these a little bit of a shuffle. Clear quartz crystal point people, this one's popping up. Ostara and fertility. And this one says, it is the perfect time for you to start new projects, access new ideas, and give birth to new conditions. This is really spot on for that 5 energy. 5 energy is about new people, new places, new things, new opportunities. And that's exactly what Ostara here is telling you with the fertility card. It is about doing many things, juggling many projects, or putting a lot of eggs in your basket, so to speak. So you don't necessarily have to pick 1 or 2, but you, in this group of the eggs, or the group of whatever it is you got going on that you want to focus on, do 1 or 2 at a time, you know, kind of maybe organize that out to do 1 or 2 at a time so you can really make as much progress as you can in the various ways. Network, I feel like, is going to be important for you this month as well. So get out there, travel, network with other people. And then for those of you that chose the ametrine, give this a little shuffle. Ametrine people. This one keeps calling my attention. Inner wisdom and Athena. Okay. And this one says, you know what to do. Trust your inner wisdom and take appropriate action without delay. Now this is interesting because usually this is an internal energy, but it's saying to just get in touch with that and listen to your own higher soul self and your inner guidance. But then it says take action without delay, which is again that 5 energy of moving on something that feels right. Listen to your inner wise teacher. Okay? All right, I hope you've liked this monthly angel card reading. Be sure to watch the weekly angel card readings. Go onto my Facebook pages, Colleen Lemma, Sacred Soul Empowerment, for daily astrological and empowering posts. Please visit my website at sacredsoulempowerment.com and see what I got going on there. I've updated it, and there's some new things there to look at. I want to say thank you for everyone, for all of your support. I love you all very much. Many, many blessings of love and light to all until I see you again. Mwah. Namaste.